Eric Scheidler here, Executive Director of the Pro-Life Action League. By now, you've probably heard the news that a leaked draft has come from the Supreme Court. This was reported by the website Politico. Apparently, it's a draft written by Samuel Alito, the justice that many expected would be writing a majority opinion in this ruling of Dobbs versus Jackson that's coming out from the Supreme Court. We don't know when. It might be the end of June. It might be sooner. We don't know if this leak will change anything. And I wanted to share some of my reaction to this with you. Now, my first thought when I heard about this story, when my wife, April, came by and told me, you got to see this story from Politico, was skepticism. I thought, this is a cynical attempt to try to move the court in a particular way by leaking what may be a fake draft. The leaks, some kind of an attempt to sabotage this ruling. So I was very concerned and very suspicious when I first heard this news. But then as I read this story in Politico, it's a quite lengthy story about the release of this document and what it says. As I started to read the excerpts that they were quoting in that story, I really started to have a new thought and to think, this really could be what the Supreme Court is going to do. Now, as Politico pointed out, as many analysts have pointed out, it's an early draft. It's from February. It was circulated amongst the justices, both so that those who are concurring in that opinion, joining in on it, can see what it says and make suggestions for changes, and so that any justices who are writing dissent, saying this ruling is wrong, this is the way it should have gone, will have the opportunity to do so. And that timeline is still happening, so this may not affect when the ruling is officially handed down or not. But what the ruling says in a nutshell was what we were most hoping for, that the Supreme Court is overturning Roe v. Wade and the later case of Casey versus Planned Parenthood that controlled abortion politics and controlled policy across the country. Casey set up this undue burden standard saying you can't enact a restriction against abortion or a limit or any kind of a measure that would place an undue burden on women. No one knows what that undue burden is. It's been litigated. It's been brought to the Supreme Court again and again and again. That's never been resolved. Roe v. Wade, of course, opened up this license for abortion with its companion case, Doe versus Bolton. And so all three of these cases are now in the spotlight as this draft ruling comes out. What is the future going to be? Well, this ruling says Roe was badly decided. It was wrongly decided in the first place. Casey was wrongly decided, and the court has to return this issue to the states, to the people where it belongs. Now, people don't remember this, but back in 1972 and 1973, when the Supreme Court was considering what it was going to rule on this issue of abortion in these two cases that ultimately became known as Roe v. Wade and Doe v. Bolton. At that time, across the country, there was a debate going on, there was litigation, there was legislation over the issue of abortion. Some states were changing their laws to make abortion more legal. They were liberalizing abortion laws. Other states saw that that was happening and became concerned at what they were seeing. The state of New York in particular was becoming a destination for abortion. And in fact, the New York legislature, before Roe v. Wade, overturned their liberal abortion law. They didn't like it. They realized this is bad for New York. But the Republican liberal governor, Rockefeller, vetoed that change of the law. So this was what was happening in American politics in the years before Roe v. Wade. That entire process was put on hold, was put in the deep freeze for 50 years, while 62 or 63 million children lost their lives to the violence and injustice of abortion in all 50 states. If this is the ruling that we get, it will be, I can't even think of the word for it. I mean, you want to say groundbreaking, game-changing. I mean, this isn't just changing the game, it's throwing the game out the window and starting a whole new game. We have an opportunity here to protect unborn children's lives from conception in many states of the United States, if this is the ruling that we get. But in the states like my home state of Illinois that have been expanding abortion and aggressively taxpayer funding it and stripping away conscience protections and eliminating any oversight of abortion facilities, these states, we're going to have a tremendous job on our hands. First of all, to restore a sense of wonder and awe at the incredible power of fertility, of the superpower that women have of being able to create a person inside their bodies. We need to restore that. So that's not something that is a cause of fear and concern or seen as some sort of lack in women, that they're able to become pregnant and have babies. And then we have to try to enact pro-life laws in these states. It's going to be very, very difficult. I hope that those of us in pro-abortion states can count on the prayers and support, the financial gifts especially, that we will need of our friends in more pro-life states. In Illinois, we need our friends in Missouri, and Indiana, Wisconsin, Kentucky, Iowa to step forward and help us. Come here to help us out in front of the abortion facilities if you can. If you find yourself 6 months or a year from now living in a state that doesn't have a legal abortion, what can you do to help your pro-life friends in other states? What can we as a nation do to change the climate around childbearing in our society? So many young millennials, they want to have families, they want to have kids, they want to get married, they want to buy houses. All of this has been taken from them because of the economic disparities in our society. It's so much harder for young people to afford homes, to afford marriage, to afford children than it was for baby boomers, Generation X. We need some change. We need to finally accommodate the fact that women get pregnant and have babies. If we're going to really embrace women's rights, women's right to participate fully in our society, we cannot tell them that that is conditional upon their willingness to have abortions. We know that about 1 out of every 5 or 1 out of every 4 women will have an abortion during her lifetime, as the statistics currently stand. That means that a quarter of women or so are being told that to participate in our society, to fulfill your dreams, to get out of a difficult situation, whatever it might be, you have to participate in the violent death of your unborn child. That's unacceptable. It's unacceptable to us as pro-life people that an abortion costs $500 and a birth costs $10,000. We have to transform the society so it is truly pro-life, so that no woman feels like she's being pushed into abortion, so that no father feels desperately unable to provide for his child and to be the man that he's being called to be in that moment when he finds out that his wife or his girlfriend is pregnant. And so that no child has to suffer the violence and pain of abortion, which is an unspeakable crime, destroying human life in the one place on earth designed for it to be most nurtured and protected, the mother's womb. So, with tremendous optimism, with tremendous sense of encouragement, with some concern at what's happening with the leak and the subversion that's happening there, but overall with a sense of tremendous hope for the future, I greet this leaked first draft from Samuel Alito, and I encourage you to join me in praying that we will get this final ruling, whatever tweaks there are to it, whatever final revisions of language, but that this will be the substance of the ruling we finally get from the Supreme Court, that Roe versus Wade has been cast into the dustbin of history where it belongs, and so that together we can build a new pro-life future for the United States. Thanks for watching. God bless you for your prayers, and please let's keep those prayers coming for the Supreme Court.